nature. Hope you remember now. Yes, no, maybe.
Sorry, sir. Can I see the QR of attendance?
What you have been doing until now. Wait, let me share.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, can now?
Done, sir.
Yeah. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in the last class, we have been talking about digital signature. Where I stop is I come until here. We talk about two different types of digital signature, especially direct digital signature, where this direct digital signature is in between the two parties, party A and B. That means the sender and the receiver. I believe in your signature and you believe in my signature. That's it. And we are done with direct digital signature. In those situations whereby we mutually cannot believe in each other's signature, we need a third party to verify are we the right identities to sign on our own behalf. In that case, we use an arbitrated digital signature where this arbitrated digital signature involves a third party, right? This third party is well known to the sender X and the receiver Y. So the third party will verify whether whatever the data has been sent together with the signature, does it belongs to the correct sender? That what it is verified. That means the arbiter, who is called as the certification authority, will verify the validity of the signature from the sender and also to the receiver. Okay. And then this is the basic mechanisms of the signature scheme, which we learned in the last class as well. Okay. Here, I think this is the place where we have to stop until slide number 9. We learned in the last class. Moving on is replay attacks. Replay is saying or sending the same message again just to confuse the receiver, right? That is called as replay. Replay, consider like I'm saying something today, but you are trying to repeat the same thing tomorrow. Means that you are trying to wage an attack by replaying the same message which was previously sent by me. That is called as replay. So basically there are few replay methods where we can launch attacks. That means replay attacks. The first one is simple replay. What is simple replay? The opponent simply copies a message and replaces it later. For example, I say today class finishes at 3 p.m. This is my message, right? How you do a replay? Simple replay means that you copy the same message and you do it tomorrow. Is that valid? Invalid. Why? Today class is scheduled from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. So when I say today classes finishes at 3 p.m., my word is today class finishes at 3 p.m. That is my simple message to you all. And if you replay the same message tomorrow, message is correct. Message is correct. But you are replaying at a different time where the actual message said by me today becomes invalid. You get the point? Hello, are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
See, I think there are more than 20 people in the class. I don't know how many of you are hearing. If you are really hearing me, make some noise. If you're not hearing, fine, that's fine. I just want to know how many of you join the online class today and you are listening and are able to respond to my questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so far only Naveen responded. I don't know how about others. Okay, it's fine. Coming to the next kind of attack is repetition that can be logged. It means that an opponent can replay a timestamp message within the valid time window. For example, consider said just now today class is finished at 3 p.m. Maybe Naveen can replay the same message but within 3 p.m. Consider valid. You understand? Repetition that can be logged. If Naveen is replaying the same message, this valid time window is from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. Now we are in between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. Repetition. Consider you are repeating the message, but this repetition can be logged. And for example, Naveen is not entitled to say to anyone that Dr. Asif said the class finishes at 3 p.m. Not necessary, but then he's saying as such, right? But still it becomes valid as long as the message has been replayed within the valid time window. Valid time window is 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. Even you pronounce it before 2:59, it is considered the repetition, means you repeat the same message which I said, which can be logged. Why? Because it is within the specific time window of 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. And the third is repetitions that cannot be detected. The situation could arise because the original message could have been suppressed and thus did not arrive at its destination. Only the replay message arrives. Consider I was saying something in the last week class, right? But it was not heard by many of you. But then you are saying something different under my name, which I haven't said in the last class. That means repetition that cannot be detected. Means the original message could have been suppressed. You don't bother to listen to what I said last class. Means that the original message has been suppressed and thus this did not arrive at your ears, but only the replay message. When I'm repeating the same message again today, you manage to hear. So repetition that cannot be detected. I have been saying few things during every class, right? Even in today class also, I mentioned that if you are listening to my class, make some noise when I ask you a question. But unfortunately, one or two always reply back, giving an impression that majority of you are not listening to the class, right? So repetition is the original message have been suppressed, right? I'm repeating the message again now. When I ask you a question, you make some noise, right? I replay the message. I don't know how many of you are hearing again. I'll repeat again. So means that the repetition that cannot be detected provided the receiver is not in sync with the sender. Backward replay without modification. This is a replay attack, replay back to the message sender. The attack is possible if symmetric encryption is used and the sender cannot easily recognize the difference between messages sent and messages received. So that is a situation, right? I ask you, how are you? You repeat the message, how are you? So means that message and sent and received are the same. So some cases, we are not able to realize that whether this is a message which is sent or it is not a sent message, it's just a received message. That is one of the biggest trouble. Backward replay, not front replay. Front replay is, right, I just say one time and the same message has been replayed by somebody else. Probably it's an attack. This replay without modification is, I do not know whether I said it earlier. I'm just telling it again, saying it again. Then we do not realize whether the message is sent or the message is received. Okay, what is the countermeasure? So how do we deal with the situation when we were to come across a replay at number one using timestamp? So we need to bother about the time when it has been set. That is the most important part. Party A accepts a message as fresh only if the message contains a timestamp that in A's judgment is close enough to A's knowledge of the current time. Consider anyone from MSUC Sabah. Could you raise your voice? Anyone from MSUC Sabah, MSU CKB?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, Niven. Niven, yeah. Help me on this. What is the exact time in Sabah now? As per your mobile phone or your laptop?
It's 2:21 p.m.
2:31. Here it is 2:21.
Sorry, 2:21, sir. 2:21.
So you said wrongly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually 2:21.
Okay. Time is 2:21 or 31? Hello.
21.
Okay, fine. In West Malaysia also, it's again 2:21. Okay, so here, consider you receive a message. You can accept the message as fresh only, provided I say that I am sending this message at 2:21, you also receive at 2:21. In your judgment, we are in the same time zone. Am I correct, Niven?
Yes.
So in that case, we believe that the message which you receive instantly from me is fresh only. What decides? The timestamp, the date and time in which the message is sent and the message is received. This approach requires that the clocks among the various participants be synchronized. Probably we could agree with the point that if both of our times are synchronized, means that we are following the Greenwich Mean Time, so that our clocks are synchronized according to the location and time zone. Okay. Number two, one is through timestamp to verify how to stop the replay of attacks. So when I send a message at 2:21, you have to receive it exactly at 2:21, not at 2:22, not 2:25, or not 2:35. So based on the time at which the receiver received the message, we could decide the message is fresh only. Number two is challenge and response. But A, expecting a fresh message from B, first sends B a nonce, a challenge, and requires that the subsequent message response received from B contain the correct nonce value. Consider I am willing to send a message to you. Before that, I'm asking, are you paying attention to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now only I receive the challenge, not challenge. What I ask is the challenge. You give a response. So when I realize that you are paying attention, then I will send the actual message. That is called as challenge response. So I am asking in the group, are you listening to me? Only one person say yes. So when I ask questions, a challenge. You reply to that is the response. So I believe that you are listening to me, and I start sending the actual message. So the correct nonce value means that I'm asking a question, and then Naveen is saying the correct reply for my question. It is considered the correct nonce value. if Naveen asks me, sir, could you kindly repeat? I don't understand what you are talking about. So means that the actual message is not received, or the nonce, or otherwise called as challenge, is not received on the other end. So challenge response is to, before we send a message, we verify whether the receiver is intact with the sender or synchronized with the sender before we actually send the actual message. And this concludes chapter number 8. Let us move on to chapter number 9. Any of you come to the class late? Want to scan the attendance? So I display one more time. Whoever haven't scanned, scan now. Can you all see the slide of chapter number 9?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, the next chapter is about network security practice. What is that? In the last chapter, we talked about digital signature, and then we haven't talked about authentication. Usually, the authentication is provided as a service, right? The authentication service that is provided to verify mutually the sender to the receiver and the receiver to the sender, we call it as Kerberos. So here, what is the need of this authentication service? Number one, strong security on physically insecure network, right? As of any data communication network is concerned, it is strong but not secure enough. So we have to utilize an insecure network to send and receive information. That's the reason why majority of our transactions are considered end-to-end encrypted. Means that it is encrypted on our device before it has been sent on the network. After receiving it on the other end, again the network decrypted. That's why we call as end-to-end encryption. So in order for us to authenticate sender to the receiver and the receiver to the sender. In other words, we can say that client to the server or server to the client, or even simplified, user to the server and the server to the user. Means that the client believes in the server which he or she is communicating with, and at the same time, server also trusts that they are communicating or sending the response to the right identity. That's what we call as user identifies himself to the server, and the server also identifies correctly himself to the user as well. So we believe each other. Like consider in our case, in the class, I am the server and you are the users. So I identify each one of you in the similar way. Again, every one of you identify me as well, right? So here, the one or the service which is involved in helping the users and the servers to identify each other, we call it as authentication service. And one such authentication service is Kerberos. Okay, and then here, when we say authentication service, it doesn't mean that we don't have encryption. We have. But the nature of the encryption that we use is conventional encryption rather than public key encryption. What we say conventional encryption is otherwise called as private key encryption or symmetric encryption or single key encryption. So all these encryption have a common name, conventional or classical encryption. Whatever it is, it's all different names for conventional encryption. Rather than public key encryption. Public key encryption is basically the modern type of encryption that we are using to encrypt individual data before we send it on a network and be received by someone else. Okay. Number one, why Kerberos is needed? Number one is the problem. What is the problem? Problem is not trusted workstation to identify their users correctly in an open distributed environment. Right, let me give a scenario for you to understand. Right, and let me ask, give an example. Adinda,
Yes, sir.
Angita, Farooq Maulana,
Dari sini, dari sini. Yes, sir.
Jasreen,
Hi, sir.
Muhammad Fairuz,
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Shazwan,
Yes, sir.
Angita, Chandra,
Yes, sir.
Kritiga,
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Shazwan,
Yes, sir.
Niven,
Yes, sir.
Yadavi,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Windy,
Yes, sir.
Zul Arsil Mustafa,
Yes, sir.
Siska,
Yes, sir.
Sufia Mira,
Yes, sir.
Chandra,
Yes, sir.
Sharon Raj,
Yes, sir.
Alinda,
Yes, sir.
Haridlan,
Yes, sir.
Zikrilla,
Yes, sir.
Ahmad Faruzuddin, Yahya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if you look at that, what I'm trying to do is we are in an insecure communication network. I do not believe that all of you are listening to me. So I just try to call the names randomly here and there to verify whether you are actually listening to my class. Similarly, what I'm trying to do is authentication. Verify the identity whether people are actually listening to the class. So moving on, going to the thing is not trusted workstation to identify that their users correctly in an open distributed environment. They do not actually identify the correct people if it is in an open distributed environment. So what is the possibility is that the three common threads are pretending to be another user from the workstation, right? You call this as uh, uh, like someone else utilizing your machine. Sending requests from the impersonated station means that some of the machine is unattended and you pretend like you are the owner of the machine and you entertain the request. It is sending request from the impersonated means that not attended machine. And replay attack to gain service or disrupt the operations. So some people will conduct the attack by replaying the same message. The intention is to gain authorization or else to make the service to be interrupted. So in order to address all these three threats, we come up with a solution. The solution is building elaborate authentication protocols at each server and also the client. For that, we use a centralized authentication server. Means that whoever want to communicate with the other need to get authenticated first before they have been allowed to communicate with each other. Right? That is the role of the Kerberos centralized authentication server. So what the authentication server do is consider we want to utilize a resource on the internet. So before we actually use a particular resource, we need to identify ourselves to the authentication server that we are a valid user and these are the valid credentials that you have to access the server. Providing all the information to the authentication service or authentication server like Kerberos, this information which you provide will be verified. After verification is done, if it has been found valid, and you will be allowed to access that particular server. Means that before you actually use any resource on the network, you have to get yourself authenticated by the authentication server, right? That's what an authentication server has been built for. Okay, moving on. So what is the requirement of Kerberos? It is secure, it is reliable, it is transparent, and it is scalable. What is secure? An opponent does not find it to be a decline. Means that they will not see any insecurities in the pipeline of Kerberos. Reliable is the system should be able to back up, and they consider you have multiple systems. One system is not able to handle your authentication verification, another system will be able to handle that. We call it as reliability. Transparency, and user should not be aware of authentication, right? Consider every time your credentials are verified for validity. So having said that, you don't have to say that you have been validated before you enter, right? And the user should not realize or aware that they have been verified with different kind of things before they are actually allowed to utilize the resource. Scalable. The system supports large number of clients and servers. So having an authentication server in place means that you have the eligibility to utilize multiple clients at the same time. Okay, what does that have? A basic third-party authentication scheme, an authentication server, and ticket guarding service. I have a diagram to show you, but probably I think we will discuss about the diagram in detail in the next class. So we will start from Kerberos full overview in tomorrow morning class. Right before that, we will do some exercise. Okay, my first exercise. Okay, I posted question number 1 in the group. So check on my first question. I have posted my first question. I hope all of you will be able to answer. It's just one easiest classical encryption technique, which is not Caesar cipher. So just one encryption technique other than classical encryption. I believe that all of you make sure that you attend tomorrow morning class, offline class on time. The next question is about breaking the cipher. I'm not providing the key to break. Instead, I will provide the cipher text that you have to break, and you are entitled to break the cipher by knowing yourself how to break. Are you all hearing me? I don't know why is it taking so long time to answer a very simple question. Are you with me? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Seems like everybody opened the online class and you are sleeping. You are not able to answer the question even after 3 seconds, where this question need only 3 seconds to answer. Is it Virginia encryption easier like Caesar cipher?
I think no, sir. Caesar is easier.
So I see. I also typed the question wrongly, probably because of that you get confused, I believe. Right. Okay. Now you can see the new correct question. So just one easiest classical encryption other than Caesar. Probably Virginia is much complex compared to Caesar cipher. Okay, I am posting question number 2. I don't know. Till it seems like Niven.
Yes, sir.
Niven, Playfair is considered the most complex classical encryption technique. And you are mentioning it is the easiest. I do not understand. Virginia is even easier than than Playfair, but it is not as easy as Caesar. What I am asking is easiest classical encryption other than Caesar encryption. There are many, more than one is there. We see who gets the answer first. I have already posted the second question as well. Is there anyone in the class 8 to scan your attendance? Niven, I'm talking about a cipher which we learn in the class.
Okay, sir. Okay, understood.
You don't have to remove the answer, Niven. Consider you are the first respondent of the question. I appreciate that. But never, never, ever remove your answer. No need. Even it's wrong, let it be. Fine. Your response counts. See, in the group, none of them respond. You are the only one responding 4 times after I posed the first question. So next time, even if you put the wrong answer, doesn't matter. Just leave it like that and go for the correct answer again. I certainly understand that. try to answer question number one first. Question number one is very, very easy actually. Move on to the next question. Okay, answer my second question. Okay, it's time already. See you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the class. Until then, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.